Welcome to 20 Minutes Self-Development with me, your host, Tam Dillon. 20 Minutes Self-Development, the podcast that's all about focused, effective self-development, one tool at a time. In each episode, I'll be introducing you to a specific practice or technique, and I'll be diving into why it matters, how it works, and how you can integrate it seamlessly into your daily life. In just 20 minutes, we'll get to the heart of personal growth and insights that make meaningful change feel both accessible and achievable. Let's get into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to 20 Minutes Self-Development. I'm your host, Tam Dillon, and today we're chatting about a topic that is incredibly close to my heart. We are once again discussing my favorite tool, the tarot. This weekend marks the release of the third edition of my Auto Tarot guidebook. I don't think I will ever stop loving that moment of seeing my book in print. This book has been just as exciting as all the books before. I must say I'm super, super happy with how this book has turned out. I think I've really hit the mark on some amazing stuff here. The Art of Tarot is something I've been working on for many, many years. I would say about a year or two in on me teaching tarot, I went from my little manuals that said Tarot 101 to the Art of Tarot. And the Art of Tarot is how I've taught tarot consistently over the years. And eventually in 2018, I turned my manuals into my first edition of my guidebook. And then back in 2021, released the second edition, which was expanded, had way more juicy content to it. And now I'm back with the third edition, which once again has some really great expansions, some really phenomenal insights, and as always, making tarot as practical and simple as I possibly can. So yes, this weekend marks the release of the third edition. If you haven't ordered yourself a copy yet, why not? Go and get yourself a copy because this book is amazing. Yes, I'm biased, but that's because I've been refining it over years. And it's built on decades of my lived experience with the cards. So it's not just tarot theory that I'm teaching you from. It's not just what I've learned in books. Like, this is based on my years of experience in reading and working with the cards, both from a professional and from a personal capacity. The book is there to help guide you in using the tarot in real life. Like I say, make it as practical and simple as possible. Because when we're using the tarot as a tool for reflection or for growth, it helps you to understand yourself so much better. The tarot is a tool that I am incredibly passionate about because it's a tool that has done so much for me for so many years. 25 years in on the same tool. I'm not banging my head against the wall. I definitely know that. I'm working with a tool that is just beautiful and so insightful when used efficiently. So today I want to chat about how to do that exactly, how to use the tarot. How do you use the tarot as a tool? You're not as this predictive, who's my future husband going to be and what's his star sign and what's he going to look like. And yes, I've been asked those questions many, many times over the years. And there's so many better questions to ask of the cards. There really are. And that's what we're going to be exploring today, is the more productive use of the tarot. It's something that's helps meet us with so much more clarity, and it comes from a place of non-judgment. It's not someone sitting across from you, telling you this stuff. It's a pack of picture cards that it's opening a dialogue with the self. So let's have a look at what does it mean to use tarot for self-development. So a lot of people come to the cards hoping to get answers. I have seen this time and time again in the 20 odd years that I read professionally. That's 99.9% of the time, the people come for a reading is they're looking for answers. But what I've found over time is that tarot's real gift isn't in telling us what's going to happen. It's in helping us understand how we're moving through what's already happening. If I look back at the multitude of readings that I've done over the years, and yes, everyone has come to me with questions. Some people have come with just genuine curiosity, never had a reading, what can you tell me? But in all honesty, the questions that have come from tell me what's going to happen and what I should do about it, compared to the questions that were more what am I going through right now? What is happening now? What can I do about it now? What insights can you give me about now? And the profound difference in how my clients received the information and the impact that information had on them. Like, to me, I can recall some very stark differences in the just in that level of aha moment, where it's like I'm not just saying, okay, well, you're going to get married next week Wednesday, and he's going to be a Pisces, and he's going to be 5'4" and blonde haired and blue eyed, and they're going to be like, okay, cool, and they're going to go out into the world and look for every, Piscean blonde haired blue eyed dude out there, but I've given them nothing other than, a description and some information. But when I've given them that clarity, I've translated that clarity from the cards on what is happening now, and the expanded version of that, powerful stuff. Like, this is where aha moments happen. This is where transformation happens. This is where enlightenment happens. And this is where we're taking the tarot from superficial entertainment and, who am I going to marry next week and what color is his hair, to how can I grow? How can I be better? How can I develop myself? What part of myself am I not noticing? What can I work on? And you're starting to take something that holds an immense amount of knowledge. Like, in 78 cards, you have so much information at your hands. And you want to ask what color hair your husband is going to have. No, don't do that. Do better with the cards. So really, they're there to help you understand how you're moving through what's already happening. They're not worried about what's going to happen next week, what's going on right now. And remember that what's happening right now is shaping what's going to happen next week. So what's going on right now is actually way more important than what's happening next week, right? Yes, priorities. When you begin to work with the tarot reflectively, it becomes this beautiful mirror. Tarot is just this reflective tool. The images, the archetypes, the structure of the deck, they don't give you this script to follow. They offer you this opportunity to meet yourself where you are and perhaps notice something you hadn't before. Like, tarot is an empowering tool, not a disempowering tool. If the tarot was going to just tell you everything, that would be a very disempowering tool to work with, and would honestly be boring after a minute when you just know everything. Life would be very boring. Who wants predictability? On that level, anyway. So this right here, this is where shift happens. Instead of asking what's going to happen to me, you begin to instead ask questions like, what am I being invited to learn here? What can I gain here? What insights am I being shown here? What's the heart of the experience that I'm having right now? And that's what using tarot for self-development looks like. It's asking the right type of questions. It's everyone's going to ask the questions of the cards. Otherwise, how else are you using them? You're just pulling them. Either way, you're still like, what can you show me? Or, there's some sort of a question. And it's the question that's important. It's what you're asking and how you're asking. These are the important things to think about when working with the cards. Let's chat a bit about working with some individual archetypes. So one of the most powerful ways to do this is to focus on a single card and its archetype. Like, you have 78 cards to work with. You don't work with all 78 cards in one sitting. Okay, you only have 24 hours in a day. Like, slow and steady wins the race, people. Like, rein it back in. So pick a card. Pick an archetype, and not as a tool for the day or a quick reflection, but as a companion. Like, work with this card. This is not like, what's my day gonna be like? What's my archetype for today? No, that's not what we're asking. Like, we're looking for a travel companion for the next week or weeks or months, heck, years. If you need to walk with that card for that long, like, you're looking for a companion. Let's say maybe you choose to work with the High Priestess. You don't just read about her. You start to notice where silence, stillness, and inner knowing are showing up in your lives. The things that she stands for, the things that she represents, the archetype that she is. How are those aspects of the High Priestess showing up in your day-to-day life? Journal. Journal. Tam and her journaling. Tam's going to make journals and make millions off of journals because she's advocates for journaling as much as she does, but because journaling is good for you. Journal, people, journal. Go and get yourself a journal, especially for stuff like this sort of work. You want to journal, you want to keep track, you want to pay attention, you want to climb in there and have inner dialogue. Write down the things that you're noting about the High Priestess. Maybe you're working with a couple of different decks to get different viewpoints of the High Priestess, different visuals of the High Priestess. Track your dreams. She's intuition, right? She's intuitive knowing. Track your deep intuitive nudges where the intuition kind of like talks really loud to you. Track those. And explore how it feels to pause before responding, because the High Priestess doesn't just, snap and, react. And she's just like, here's your answers. She's like, let me think about that for a second. And she sits in stillness and contemplates first. The High Priestess is not about action. That's the magician. If you went to the magician for advice, he would whip out his wand and be like, here's your answer, quick sticks, because he's active. High Priestess, you're looking to sit with things. You're looking to contemplate things. You're looking to sit in those moments of stillness. So practice pausing and sitting in those moments of contemplation and connection, because in those moments of pause and deep reflection, you're connecting with the intuitive self a lot more easily than trying to force it. There's a far more natural process to it. And that's how these archetypes start living through you. You start to emulate them, you embody them. So you're studying all the aspects of what the High Priestess is about. Stillness, deep knowing, inner wisdom, contemplative, in action. So practice sitting still. Keep it simple if you need to. And when you are practicing sitting still, or sitting in stillness, or practicing that pause, visualize the High Priestess, visualize the different cards if you're working with different variations of the High Priestess. Well, let's take the Tower card. Yes. Take a rough card for a companion for a couple of weeks. Why not? The big scary cards are some of the best teachers. Most of us don't like the Tower card. We're all like, we don't want the Tower card. Tower card's scary, Tam. We don't want to work with the Tower card. Work with the Tower card. Put the Sun card away. Put the Star and the Sun card away. Like, hide them. you don't get to work on those cards until you've done the death card, the devil card, and the tower card. You gotta eat your veggies before you can have your pudding, man. And the same goes for your tarot. Because if you've worked with these cards as teachers, you'll find that they're probably some of the best teachers in the deck, like for real, like genuinely. And you probably think, if you don't know much about tarot, you're probably like, Tam, you're nuts. Well, go get yourself a pack of cards, or find a friend who's got a pack of cards, and like go and look at them. Go and understand what they're about. And you'll find you might just want to make one of them your companion. So when you commit to learning from a card, instead of just interpreting it, becomes a living part of your practice. Like, and you probably want me to backtrack and be like, whoa, Tim, how do we embody the tower card? Like, what does that look like? Embodying a card like the tower card, well, that would look like surrendering to processes, allowing transformations to take place, allowing things to crumble and fall away that need to crumble and fall away. So over the time in working with the tower card, examine the different parts of your life and examine the parts that are perhaps dead weight and need to just be stripped away. Maybe there isn't a whole lot of, destruction, clearing away that needs to be done. Maybe it's just a little bit. Maybe you need the tower card for one or 2 days. But work with a card like that, because it's going to show you a lot of the deeper stuff. So you're looking to become comfortable with changes. You're looking to become comfortable with unexpected changes, because life is unpredictable, right? We don't know what's going to happen next week. We can ask the cards and they're going to be like, well, he's got blonde hair and blue eyes and he's a Pisces. But genuinely, most of us don't know what's going to happen next week. So we need to be able to navigate whatever's going to come next week in a way that is stable and solid and at ease. And working with a card like the Tower card can help show you how to do that. Because the Tower card teaches you, like, hey, the chaos is going to come. The distraction is going to come. The unexpected changes are going to come. You getting fired from your job, you losing your spouse, you losing your car, you surviving horrific traumas. Like, life is going to hand you some curveballs. But come walk with me for a couple of weeks and I'll show you how you can move through that with a sense of stillness and ease, so you don't have to fall apart every time life does. And that's why we work with the Tower card. Yes, that is why we work with the Tower card. So pick a card and work with it, embody it, embrace its teachings and its knowledge, absorb it. Don't just put it and be like, oh, okay, it's the Tower, transformation's coming. Oh, scary. Work with the Tower card. Work with the Tower card through that transformation that's coming. But work and embody those cards, really understand them, study them, look at different decks and variations, read different books, study it online, ask friends that know the cards about their interpretation of that card, get different perspectives on it. The core cards. I love the core cards for self-development. If you're going to work with any part of the tarot in a self-development capacity, a major arcana is absolutely, but the court cards, most people don't know what to do with the court cards. I think the number one question in tarot is, how do you memorize all the cards, and what the heck are the courts for? Okay, so the court cards are the personalities of the tarot deck. And that being said, that should give you a quick, like, oh, okay, I think I could see where you're going with the self-development angle. So the core cards offer a different type of self-reflection. They're like personality snapshots or inner roles that we can embody or examine or get to know, both in adverse aspects and positive aspects. One approach that we can use is which core card do you admire? Which is your favorite card card? Which core card do you feel most drawn to? Which one makes you feel uncomfortable? Here we're going back to the tower card, but now we're doing it with the core card. So, which core card makes you feel uncomfortable, and look through them and be like, I don't like this oak here. Like his sword's too sharp and stabby, and he looks like he's a little bit threatening. So pull that card out and work with him. So where there's cards where you admire something and there's things that make you uncomfortable, that's like, oh, okay, there's work you can do there. There's things that you can explore there. If the Knight of Swords feels too impulsive or chaotic, or his sword looks a bit too sharp and stabby, maybe it's because a part of you is trying to slow down, or maybe it's because part of you wants to be that bold, has a sharp, stabby sword type person. Maybe that's something that you're wanting to emulate in yourself, but you haven't given yourself the permission to do that. The discomfort is the invitation. And if you want to cultivate a certain quality, like, emotional maturity or compassion, clear boundaries, working with one of the core cards like the Queen of Cups or the King of Swords, if you're looking to understand healthy ways to assert yourself or assert your boundaries. So it's not just by pulling the card. Again, it's about observing how that archetype might move through things like your daily decisions, your daily interactions, your conversations, your choices, how you carry yourself. So the core cards really just, if you're going to work with a part of tarot, like Major Arcana, yes. Core cards, absolutely. You can have a lot of fun with the core cards. You really can. Understand both sides of each card and explore. This one makes me uncomfortable. Why is that? These are qualities here I'd really like to instill in myself. Let me carry this card with me around for a week, and let's study how I can do that. So the core cards are just such a, man, they're 16 just fabulous cards, The tarot really doesn't shy away from life's hard truths. Some of the most powerful self-development comes when we're willing to sit with the difficult cards, the death card, the devil card, the tower card, the suit of swords. The suit of swords is all on its own, a bit of a rough one to sit with. But it's not just to get through them, it's to learn from them. So don't rush through the big scary cards. I could spend more time with those, and less time with the Sun card. Like the Five of Pentacles on the surface, it's about loss or hardship, but what else is present in a card like the Five of Pentacles? What inner narratives does it surface? Where might you be carrying a sense of isolation or a lack that isn't fully yours? On the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Swords looks brutal, that's like the card of rock bottom. But it also says, this chapter is done. When you hit rock bottom, as much as you can't get any lower, the beautiful part about that is that you can only go one direction, and that is up. You can't get any lower than rock bottom, right? Right there is your silver lining. That level of honesty can be so liberating. And if we're willing to receive it, though, that's the trick. Every card has something to teach us. Some lessons are about expansion, some about contraction, some are about letting go, some are about starting again. The beauty is in the dialogue between you and the cards, between you and your inner self. Your conversation with the cards is an inner dialogue. So work with the cards. Be simple in working with the cards as well. And work with a set of cards that work for you, especially if you're going to be doing self-development work with a set of tarot cards. Pick a set that you can relate to, because it's all very well looking at a set of cards and be like, oh, that art looks pretty, I like those, I want to take them home. But can you relate to them? Because if you can't relate to them, you're going to struggle to relate to yourself, and you're going to struggle to relate those cards to yourself. So ensure that the set you're working with is relatable. When you are bringing tarot into a self-development practice, keep it simple. Work with one card at a time. Yes, you can opt to work with a suit and work on a specific aspect of the self, but still keep it simple. Don't work with all 78 cards and be like, cool, I'm going to fix myself for the weekend. Like, work with each card and take your time with each card. It's not a race. You're not rushing to get to a finish line. So keep it simple. The simple, small practices, because these are going to help you help with your integration far more deeply than trying to shove it all in one go. Okay, so slow and steady wins the race. That is it. Thank you once again for joining me for 20 minutes. If you are curious to learn about how the tarot works and how to read the cards, absolutely get yourself a copy of my Art of Tarot guidebook. It keeps working with the cards incredibly simple, very practical, and it's the cards are great, man. The cards are just they're fabulous. 25 years. I'm probably their number one fan, and it's for good reason, because I haven't just wandered around for the last 25 years predicting, what my future husband's going to look like. I've walked around for the last 25 years using them as the tool that they are to help grow and develop myself into the person that I am. So absolutely, grab your cards, work with your cards, work with the Tower card, work with the Devil card, work with the cards actively and intentionally. And as always, subscribe if you know someone who this episode might resonate with. Share it along. Until next time, I will catch you next week. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of 20-Minute Self-Development. If today's insights were helpful, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where I'll share another practical tool or technique for your personal growth journey. If you're looking for more personalized support, my self-development coaching offers a space to explore these tools at a deeper level and tailors them to your unique needs. You can also visit the Tam Dillon Academy for all my courses and upcoming programs to also help you along your self-development journey. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, and remember, growth happens one small intentional step at a time.